Hi everyone, this is Kassie and these are the weekly tarot horoscopes for the week of November 29 to December the 5th. Today we are using the Leonardo da Vinci tarot deck, inspired by the era Leonardo lived, the Italian Renaissance. This is a deck of sophisticated lines, colors and symbolism. The one I'm using is the mini version, but you can find the bigger version too, if you prefer. And you can always check out last week's predictions by clicking the link above, in case you want to see how energies are changing from one week to another. But if you're looking for a more personal consultation, you can always reach me on my website www.cassiekai.com. But let's see what the predictions for next week are. For Aries, we had the Temperance last week and now the Six of Cups. Now that's a very interesting combination, as it shows that after a long wait, something or someone is coming back to you. The Temperance is a card of very slow energies and marks a period of time when we slow down to reflect and explore and experiment in order to get what we want, while the Six of Cups shows a connection to the past. It could be, for instance, an ex who's resurfacing this week, or it could mean that you decide to go back to a familiar place or to visit familiar faces. The Six of Cups is actually a very pleasant and warm energy, and you will connect with people who make you feel at home, so to speak, as if you are going back to where you belong. Now, one thing to take into account with this card is that if you decide to give someone a second chance, someone you do feel a connection with, and perhaps your connection, your relationship has been disrupted, it's important to know that the dynamics of your relationship will be the same as before, and that it can get to be more than what it was. So that's a very important thing to know, especially if you've been thinking or hoping for a big change. Yes, it's possible to reconnect with someone under this energy, but you know what to expect from them. So if you're okay with them as they are or as they were, and with things as they were before, then you can go ahead with it. But if you've been hoping for a big shift or a big change, then you may feel really disappointed to see that this person hasn't changed much. Now, another thing to expect is karmic events and meetings. The Six of Cups is one of the karmic cards in tarot, and some say it's associated with past life connections, so don't be surprised if this week things happen in ways that feel fated, and there will be synchronicities and weird coincidences that will make you feel really surprised. Events that took place between 2nd and 11th November will reach a culmination this week, or things that have been disrupted around that time will continue. The Six of Cups is the Sun in Scorpio astrologically, and that means you will know secrets this week, or another will reveal your secrets. So make sure you don't get too exposed, especially if you want to keep something hidden. That's a very good energy if you want to figure things out, to understand, to go to the root of things, or to talk about deep emotions and hidden thoughts. Since both Temperance and the Six of Cups are slow and passive water cards, there will be a tendency for delays and also a desire to connect with the past, which is okay as long as you don't dwell in the past for too long. Look at doors you closed behind, but keep your focus on the future. For Taurus, we had the Four of Wands, and this week it's the Tower. Some part of something must have been completed last week, that's under the energy of the Four of Wands, and the foundations have been set down, plans have been made, and work has been done. But this week, a sudden and unexpected shift will completely change the dynamics of a situation. And that sudden shift will probably be a realization that you'll have or another will have, and maybe those foundations are not as solid as you thought they would be, because they are falling apart in a way, and now you will have to decide whether to rebuild what you started a while ago on a different basis, or to continue to build going to the next stage. And maybe you will feel upset or angry that something has been taken from you, which means that on a certain level you must have taken someone or things for granted, or another took you for granted. But life makes it so that things never remain static, and there's always change and shifts, and this week you will have to learn how to navigate through waves of instability. But on the other hand, there must have been aspects of a situation that were not really working, and now those aspects are being exposed, and you will get the chance to reassess a situation after a truth has been exposed. You will be surprised to see that your feelings about something or someone change very rapidly and in a very drastic way. The Tower is associated with Mars, and that means very high energy. You will feel you need to take action no matter what, and your tongue will be very sharp. And keep in mind that Mars always likes a good fight, so make sure to avoid arguments if you don't want them, because this week is a high risk for that. This week expect the unexpected, and although the Tower gets a bad rap in tarot, this is actually a good energy if you are looking for change, especially if it's change that you feel unable to make, or if you are hoping for something to happen and change a situation. If that's the case, this week the universe will hear your plea and will respond to your request. For instance, if you're single and feel that you will never find love, the Tower foretells a surprise for you. This week you will be surprised by something that you didn't think would happen. And although as a Taurus you dislike big changes, you'll have to go along with the wheel of life, because if you decide to resist this change, you will be very frustrated. For Gemini, we had the Ace of Cups and this week the Six of Pentacles. Whatever started last week with the Ace of Cups will develop nicely this week, as the Six of Pentacles shows balance and harmony, especially when it comes to practical matters. You will make a deal with another, an agreement that's beneficial for both of you, and this is a very positive energy for career and financial matters. So if you've been waiting for a deal or a contract, this is the week it will happen. Also, if you've been looking for a job, there's a good chance that these days you'll either get an offer or you will hear about a very interesting and promising opening. Now, when it comes to relationships, the Six of Pentacles foretells that things between you and your partner or the person you're interested in will get more stable, and if there have been inconsistencies or lack of stability, this week the vibe is changing, so we can expect a more harmonious interaction. And if there was a disagreement or even an argument in the previous days, expect that now things will get back on track. It's possible you will receive a gift or you will exchange gifts with another, and that will have a symbolic meaning, maybe to seal an agreement, the agreement I mentioned before, or to mark the transition to a new stage of a relationship or situation. The Six of Pentacles is Moon in Taurus, and Taurus loves pleasure, security, comfort, and the good things in life. And since the moon represents our feelings, this week you will move towards things and persons that make you feel good. And that's actually the right thing to do. And it's possible that you will reject those that make you feel bad about yourself, or even remove yourself from situations that seem to be dead-end and unfulfilling. And there seems to be such an energy in your life at this stage, something that requires your attention, and around the end of the next week you will see that the opportunity will arise for you to free yourself from something or someone who doesn't serve your best interest anymore. Under the energy of this 6, you will feel very confident, strong, and you will give out that vibe, and others will feel it and react accordingly. So don't hesitate to change your attitude and even be a little unpredictable, and see how that will change the dynamics of a situation. For Cancer, we had the 2 of Swords, and this week the 9 of Swords. You've been indecisive and hesitant in the previous days, but it feels that this week you are coming to a decision finally. A decision that might appear to be disruptive to some, and they will not agree with what you're saying or what you're trying to do. And there might be some arguments or contrasts between you, as you may come across as too forceful or even hurtful. And you will find that the decision you need to make is rather difficult, but at the same time necessary, because that limbo state you were in for a long time has started taking its toll on your psychology and your thinking that became rather negative lately. You will feel that now is the time to be bold and do what needs to be done, because another may not have your strength or your courage, and that's a decision that you have made already a long time ago, but you needed to go through a process and pass through various stages before it becomes a conscious decision, and before you realize that you couldn't go on like that for much longer. The 9 of Swords astrologically is Mars in Gemini, and that means this week you will deal with fast-paced situations, a lot of coming and going, possibly, and you will be fine with that because you do need action at this stage, and there's a tendency to get bored easily, especially since you've been through some pretty boring routines all these months. Also, you will feel that your words are now very powerful, and if you don't waste energy in petty arguments, you will find that your ability to persuade or even manipulate with your words is now very strong, as well as your ability to seduce and to lead. Don't forget that Mars is a leader, and Gemini is communications, so you can lead communications. You will probably decide to end something this week, or another will put an ending to something. But if you don't let yourself fall into self-pity, worries, and depression, and there will be a tendency to do that under this influence, you will feel very powerful, as if you are born again, with new abilities like superpowers that were given to you as a reward for the hardships that you've been through for a long time. Try to recall events that happened around early June, because these days something might be repeated, or a person that was in your life at that time may resurface. For Leo, we had the World, and now the 4 of Cups. It appears that you are taking a step back from last week's energies, as you got the 4 of Cups again, a card that came up for you 2 weeks ago. And that means something that felt completed last week with the energy of the World might need your attention again, as it may come up as incomplete, or it will require some final touches. But you are feeling drained and bored, and you've almost lost interest, and what was exciting before has now become a chore. So probably you are changing your mind or you decide to do something differently. Even if you thought that it was as far as something could go, now you're probably thinking about other options too, other ways to get something done. If this energy has to do with a romantic relationship, it appears that change is needed. But change isn't happening at this moment, and you are feeling bored or even trapped, unable to transform a situation to bring it closer to how you'd like it to be. Probably because your partner or people involved aren't having the same needs or expectations at the moment. Or maybe there are even practical matters and obstacles in the way that do not allow something to change in a way that you want. We saw last week that there might be a long-distance relationship that's on your mind, and maybe there are restrictions that do not allow you to see each other at the moment, or your plans to meet up have changed or have been postponed by outside influences like other people or circumstances. The presence of these four shows that in around 4 weeks from now, things will shift again, probably in a big way. So around December, you can expect a completely different situation. But you can't force developments at this stage. Developments will happen when timing is appropriate, and there's nothing you can do to speed things up. However, the Four of Cups gives you the opportunity to take a pause and reflect. Because the real question here is, what is it that you want to have, to do, or to be? In professional matters, the combination of the World with the Four of Cups indicates that something isn't as exciting or as promising as you thought it would be, or a job or project you took on proved to be rather tedious and with less potential than you thought. As you already know, the Four of Cups is Moon in Cancer, and this energy will make you more sensitive, but also more easily offended. You will be responsive to everything around you, and you will pass through many different moods. Try not to make any serious decisions this week, because your feelings will change all the time, and there might be a tendency to think negative. Expect that around Thursday, your moods will start stabilizing a little, so leave decision-making for the end of the week. For Virgo, we had the Emperor, and this week is the Hermit. You will become more introspective this week, and you will feel that you need time for yourself, since there will be something that will require your attention, an issue you need to find a solution for. Other people's opinions and views will probably make things more complicated, more confusing for you. So it's important that you connect with your inner self and your deeper needs, and then the solution will come to you. You may find that someone in your life is getting more distant now, as they are too trying to figure things out, and maybe there will be a pause in communications or in a relationship, but even so, that's a good thing, because under the energy of the Hermit, clarity will help you put things into a new perspective, and your interaction with that person will improve after that, and there's potential for a more meaningful and deeper connection. It appears that this is a time to think about what you want and how you want a relationship to be, and whether the current energies and dynamics are what you are looking for. If you are feeling overwhelmed by emotions, hit the pause button by taking 2 conscious breaths to create a gap inside, and see what kind of thoughts and feelings arise through that gap. The good news is that you will feel quite at home under this energy, because the Hermit is associated with Virgo, and you will now be extra analytical and insightful, more than you usually are. It's possible that this week you will meet a person who's a little strange, a person who appears ahead of their times, but you will find many similarities and chemistry between you and that person. And that interesting and maybe fated meeting might make you see things from a very different point of view. If you're wondering about the feelings of another, they feel deeply introspective and they need time to be alone. That means you should not try to push or instigate communications with someone who does not appear to be responsive, as that will probably make them feel pressured, and you won't get the results that you want. Try again later when they will be more open and extroverted, but for now it's clear that they feel like being alone and they will probably block anyone who's trying to invade their privacy. For Libra, we had the Four of Swords and this week the Five of Pentacles. After a brief pause that the Four of Swords suggested, or a week of slow and passive energies, that nothing much happened, the Five of Pentacles this week will stir the waters a little, maybe in a way that will be a little unexpected, and something will require your attention. Because the Five of Pentacles usually represents a practical matter, money or career, that needs to be resolved somehow. The good news is that you will share this burden of whatever comes up with others, and through that process you will find out who your allies are and who are those who don't pay the necessary attention to your needs. The Five of Pentacles is called the Lord of Worry, so there will be a tendency to worry too much this week, even if there's nothing concrete to worry about. You may have that feeling that something will happen, that life will somehow pull the carpet from under your feet, but it's important that you don't let yourself fall into negative patterns or negative thinking. It appears that life is manifesting some ups and downs so that you make the necessary changes in your life, so that you move toward a better and more positive phase. Under the energy of the Five of Pentacles, there might be something or someone that you want but you can't get. But that's because you are not in resonance with that thing or that person, and maybe you should try at a later time, as timing seems to be off at this stage. The Five of Pentacles is not a card of action, and under this energy it is not advised to make bold moves. Change is coming on its own time, and the best thing you can do is to just keep walking by. The Five of Pentacles is Mercury in Taurus, and the good news here is that you will approach practical matters in a sensible way, and that's also good news for career and the finances. If you own a business, expect that this week you will make more money or your hard work will start reaping benefits. But since fives often show some loss, avoid investing money this week and maintain a rather conservative approach when it comes to money. If another person is draining your finances, this week there might be a big argument about that, and you will probably decide to draw some boundaries. For Scorpio, we had the Queen of Pentacles and this week the King of Swords. You will notice that someone's attitude is rapidly changing this week, and they get more distant and more detached emotionally. But that's not because they don't have feelings. It's because they are trying to control those feelings, and by extension, the situation and your relationship. And maybe this person is an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, and they have a reputation of changing their mind and getting now hot, now cold, as the energy is very different from the Queen of Pentacles you had last week. A very different vibe, and many things will feel up in the air now. And air energy is an energy that you may find a little irritating at times, as you want to feel deeply and think deeply, while this person is trying to rationalize what they feel, They're trying to do the right thing, but it's not working for anyone. So there's this up and down, back and forth all the time. Under this energy, you will have a tendency to use your head over your heart, and that's actually much needed at this stage, because this week you will get the chance to release an idea that you had held on too tightly, and then a new identity or idea about yourself will start emerging. So you may surprise yourself and others with the decisions you'll make this week, and those decisions can be quite disruptive, but at the same time quite powerful, and will give you control over the situation. Also, it's possible that you will need legal advice this week, or a legal matter will come to a successful completion. You will have a very powerful ally, probably a male, who with his amazing power of words and communication will help you win a case. If you've been using your intuition to make life choices lately, and if you found that made a mess of your life in some cases, now is the time to use logic and reason, even if that hurts your feelings a little. Make honest decisions for yourself, and don't hesitate to draw some serious boundaries for those who are being rude or hurtful, and the universe will reward you for that. For Sagittarius, we had the Five of Cups and now it's the Chariot. Last week's disappointment or loss will push you into action this week, and you will feel so determined and so eager to get what you want that you may not even care about what you have to sacrifice in order to achieve your goal. But what you should keep in mind is that you will probably have to deal with some sort of opposition, as between you and another seem to be differences, and it's as if you are looking at different directions, having different plans or needs. That means some sort of control will be needed to keep those contrasts in check, and in that process you may find that you are pulling the rope in different directions, and as you already know, ropes have a tendency to break under much tension. People who live abroad will be in your focus, and if you are in a long-distance relationship, this week you may decide to organize traveling to see your partner in the coming weeks, or your partner may come to see you. Dealings with foreign countries are especially favored under the influence of the Chariot, so if you are looking for a job abroad, this is a good week to expand your search and explore many different options. A vehicle may require your attention too, a car or a bike, and if something isn't right, the best thing to do is to get it checked as soon as possible. If you want to know how another feels for you, the Chariot means that emotionally they are reserved. The Chariot is associated with Cancer, and Cancerians are very emotional, but at the same time very protective of their hearts and their feelings. That's why someone will not hesitate to become distant, detached, if they feel threatened emotionally in some way. Don't try to push them to open up, because that will cause them to do exactly the opposite. You need to give them time to trust, or if you had a conflict, an argument with them, or a breakup, you need to let them come to their own decisions and reach out to you by their own volition. Although it may not appear so, they are in a very sensitive position, which means that in an attempt to protect themselves, they can be quite hurtful. So you need to take a step back and protect yourself at this stage. For Capricorn, we had the Two of Wands and now the Four of Wands. The Two of Wands you had last week must have made you a little indecisive or hesitant. Although the will to act must have been strong, because Wands are cards of action, and now with the Four of Wands you will experience a moment that will feel as if you are coming home in some way, a very positive feeling that will come from something that's being completed. Expect that this week something will come to fruition, And maybe that will be a moment you've been expecting for a long time, and there might be some celebration with it too. And maybe you will still be wondering if the opportunities, the options you have, or the decision you made is good or not, because the ambiguous energy of the Two of Wands is still around you. But with the Four of Wands, you will feel much more confident that you are on the right path. And what's best is that you will also get the right response you've been expecting to get. Professionally, the Four of Wands indicates that you are at the last stages of a process, like a series of interviews, for instance, or that you're about to get a promotion, or if you've been looking for a job this week, you may find your dream job. And also under the energy of this four, you could start working from home for a while. Now, if you've been wondering about how another feels about you, the Four of Wands means that they feel attracted to you, they feel happy, peaceful and content when they are around you. And maybe you will be planning the next step in a relationship, like a wedding or moving in together. The Four of Wands shows stability, and if someone has been inconsistent and unstable, expect that this week they will be more reliable and more stable. Also, you may have to attend social meetings or family gatherings this week, and you will find great strength and support in being able to rely on friends and family these days. That's why this is a good time to take care of family matters or disputes that happened between friends in the previous days. The Four of Wands is Venus in Aries, and I will remind you that Venus had an affair with Mars, who's the ruler of Aries. That's why sexually the heat will rise this week. Just be a little careful if you are married and you have an affair, or you are with someone who's married, because Venus's and Mars's affair was exposed in a very unceremonious way, and that's why you need to be very cautious this week and try not to make risky moves. For Aquarius, we had the Wheel of Fortune and now the Strength. You're getting your strength back this week, and energies must have changed already since last week you had the Wheel of Fortune, but changes that happened a few days ago will now be established in some way. And this week you will make effort to bring the results that you want. But effort does not necessarily mean force. So you should try not to force another person in any way, but you can try and discipline yourself when the urge to pressure another comes up, because you will be tempted to try and control a situation, and if you can do it in a gentle way, then things will go well. But if you come across as too demanding or too forceful, what will probably happen is that your plans will meet a very strong resistance. And it's possible that you will deal with an injustice this week done on you, or another that you will decide to protect and defend. And you will be very strong and very courageous, so that you stand up to anyone who's trying to threaten and use brute force to get what they want. And in that process, you will have to control your emotions in such a way that makes you appear very determined and intimidating even. Now, if you're wondering about the feelings of another, they appear to be holding back their feelings at this stage. They do have feelings, but they choose not to show them, probably because they fear they will look weak or vulnerable, while the image they want to project is one of power and independence. And you will feel like pursuing this person until they are finally yours, but do it in a way that does not look as if you chase after them, because that will probably turn them off. This week you can get what you want if you remain in control and diplomatic. That way you will make people trust you. Use compassion and love, and you will see that the universe will respond by bringing you more of those feelings back to you. For Pisces, we had the Chariot and now it's the Queen of Cups. It appears that the last few weeks you are dealing with a particular person. You had the Queen of Cups 2 weeks ago too, and this week you got the same card again, and it feels that issues you are facing involving this person have not been resolved yet, and the universe is giving you new opportunities to do things differently or to react in a different way in an attempt to change the situation. With the Chariot you had last week, you must have felt more determined to get what you want. You may have drawn boundaries too, but this week you will feel more sensitive, more vulnerable, and maybe more accommodating. So there might be some ups and downs when it comes to how you feel about a personal relationship, and one day you decide to stand your ground and ask for what you want, and then you get more compassionate and more forgiving. Just make sure that in that process you don't find excuses for another and you don't tolerate bad behavior, thinking that someone's your soulmate or that things are destined to happen in a certain way. The Queen of Cups is a water sign like yourself and asks you to connect with your emotions and to know that there is a divine order to things. If there's no harmony, if someone's causing chaos in your life, that's an indication that things are going wrong and that you and only you can make adjustments. Since the Queen of Cups is a card of positive energies, of satisfaction, I expect there will be some developments in your personal or professional life that will make you feel really good with yourself, with your progress. That's why this week is an opening for you, an opportunity to listen to your intuition, which will be quite strong this week, but don't take action just yet. This Queen is passive, and the watery nature of this card tells us that things are still fluid. Things are still unfolding, and before you take action, what you should do is to try and figure things out, to try and figure out how you really feel. Meditation and relaxation will be very beneficial things to do this week, especially if you've been neglecting yourself and your needs. Make it a point to take care of yourself this week, as if you have a baby that needs your full attention and care, and you will be surprised to see that the universe will respond to your feelings of self-love and will bring you people and situations that will give you more of what you give yourself. So these were the tarot horoscopes for the week of November 29 to December 5th. I hope you enjoyed them and I will see you next week.